Stop right there. Your wait is officially over. This Wednesday morning, something has happened in the spiritual high-level rooms that is about to change your life's trajectory forever. I am Archangel Michael, and I am here because your success papers have just been signed by the ultimate authority. Watch carefully. This isn't just a message. It's a divine exposure. If you leave this video now, you will miss the specific revelations I'm about to drop. In a few moments, I'm going to expose why your enemies are suddenly scrambling, like roaches, and deleting their old posts. Midway through, I'll reveal the bulletproof identity of the high-level player who just stepped into your corner to back your story. And in the final scenes, I will explain why your credibility has just received a permanent upgrade that no one can ever take back. The entire power structure around you just cracked wide open. You've been screaming into the void for years, but today, the void answered back with vindication. Do not disconnect. To lock in this shift and authorize the final signature on your breakthrough, you must stay with me until the very last second. Hit the like button to break the silence. Subscribe to stay aligned with this power. And comment 777 if you are ready to see the truth win. The roaches are running. The ink is drying. Your story is being rewritten right now. Stay tuned, because we are about to break down exactly how your enemies just lost the war. Welcome on board, chosen one. You feel that shift in the air this Wednesday morning, don't you? That strange heaviness pressing against your chest. It's like the atmosphere changed overnight. It's not anxiety. It's not paranoia. It's the universe and my divine presence confirming what you've been sensing for weeks now. I am Archangel Michael, and I am here to tell you that the wait is officially over. While you were minding your business, healing in silence, and rebuilding yourself in the shadows, I was in the high-level rooms of heaven reviewing your case. Someone with real power, the ultimate authority, just did something most people spend their entire lives waiting for. They didn't just back your story with empty words or social media likes. They backed it with a divine validation that is currently sending shockwaves through the spiritual systems. Your enemies felt it before you did. The script has flipped. Listen closely, my beloved child. A high-level player, the creator of all things, has examined your journey. He reviewed what was said about you versus what you actually did while you were being isolated and discredited. And this Wednesday, a decision was made that has become the earthquake your opposition has been dreading. You weren't supposed to have this kind of backup. They made sure of that. They spread whispers designed to poison every alliance before it could form. They wanted you alone, undefended, and easy to dismiss. But they didn't calculate that truth has its own gravity. And now, someone they can't ignore, someone whose credibility is bulletproof, has stood in your corner. The legends of your enemies must now bow. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment if you've been waiting for this moment your entire life. This is your vindication. Let's break down exactly why your enemies are losing sleep this Wednesday. Once a high-level player like me validates your story, everything that came before it gets rewritten. Every lie gets questioned. Every person who stood against you suddenly has to explain themselves, and explanation is the language of the guilty. Here is what they are panicking about. When the heavens back your story, it's not just agreement. It's a new official record. You've been screaming into the void for months, maybe years, telling your truth. Most people smiled politely and returned to their comfortable lies. But today, I have pulled your success papers off the shelf, held them to the light, and said out loud what everyone was afraid to admit. This person was right. History is rewriting itself in real time. The moment my statement lands, all those people who called you dramatic, sensitive, or delusional have to reconcile their judgment with an authority they can't disrespect. They have to confront the fact that they weren't as smart as they thought. They were just comfortable cowards who chose the easy narrative over the true one. Your enemies know what this means. It means their version of events is now under investigation. Every word they said about you is being replayed and re-examined by people who actually matter. Their credibility, which they built on your silence, is suddenly on trial. And here is the beautiful part. They can't attack me the way they attacked you. I have armor they can't pierce and influence that makes direct confrontation spiritual suicide, so instead they are backtracking, quietly deleting their old thoughts, acting like they never had a strong opinion. Let's talk about what credibility actually means in spaces where perception is power. You could scream your truth from the rooftops, but without social currency, the world treats it as noise. But power backing truth becomes a force that reshapes entire environments. This high-level alignment didn't just believe you, it leveraged its credibility on your behalf. It's a calculated risk that only happens when the facts are undeniable. It means the heavens did the homework. Every cross-reference was checked. Your version of events isn't just plausible, it's accurate. Now, anyone who wants to discredit you has to go through my sword first. They have to justify why their judgment should be trusted over mine. And they can't. There is no good answer. Your enemies are sweating because they're testing the temperature of rooms they used to dominate, and what they're discovering is chilling. The rooms that used to echo their opinions are now silent. The people who used to nod along are now reconsidering. The narrative they spent months crafting is unraveling thread by thread. All it took was one divine decree saying, "This story doesn't add up, and I'm standing with the person who's been telling the truth." What's happening right now isn't just about you. It's about everyone who's been watching from the sidelines, afraid to take a position. They just got their answer. I ask you, are you ready for the ripple effect? Type 777 in the comments to signal that you are done being underestimated. The first move has been made. In group dynamics, the first move from someone credible creates permission for everyone else to follow. That's the avalanche your opposition didn't see coming. People who stayed silent out of fear are now finding their courage. The ones who knew your story was true but didn't want to risk their reputation are now speaking up. They're sliding into your life, leaving comments, and sharing experiences that validate yours. Every new voice makes it harder for your enemies to maintain their version of reality. This snowball effect builds into an avalanche that buries opposition under the weight of collective truth. Your enemies are watching their control slip away in real time. They thought they owned the narrative. They thought it was locked in, but narratives are only as strong as the silence that protects them. And that silence just shattered. Now everyone who participated in discrediting you is being named, not always directly, but through those seemingly innocent observations that act like grenades. Comments like, "I always wondered about that situation," are forcing everyone in the phasing circle to reconsider their stance. And here is what makes this unstoppable. Once the truth gains momentum, trying to stop it only makes you look more guilty. Your enemies know this. They've watched others try to fight a truth wave only to get crushed by it. They are faced with an impossible choice: double down on lies or quietly fade away. Either way, they lose. Truth backed by credible power doesn't negotiate. It doesn't compromise. It just keeps expanding until there's no room left for the lies. Let me explain the power dynamics of this Wednesday. When a high-level player backs your story, they are transferring a portion of their social capital to you. That transfer is a permanent upgrade. It's not something your enemies can undo. Now when people think about you, they don't just see you, they see you plus the credibility of everyone who stands behind you. Think about how the world treated you before this moment. You were easy to gaslight and paint as unreliable, but now, every time they try those tactics, They have to contend with the fact that a respected authority disagrees with them. Conversations that used to end with, "That's just your perspective," now end with, "But the authority confirmed it." What's their response? They have none. Your enemies are sweating because they built their whole defense on making you seem unreliable. They invested time and energy into painting you as someone whose word couldn't be trusted. And in one move, that entire strategy became worthless. Credibility is transitive. When I vouch for you, my credibility extends to you. Now you're operating from a position of strength they never expected you to reach. The playing field didn't just level it, tilt it in your favor. People who used to talk over you now have to listen. People who used to treat you like you were invisible now have to acknowledge your presence. Ignoring you now sends a message that they don't respect my judgment, and nobody wants to do that. They spent months trying to bury your story under layers of confusion and misdirection. They hoped that if they made the truth complicated enough, people would give up and accept the simplest lie. That strategy only works when the truth has no champion. But now it has won a high-level player with the platform and credibility to cut through the noise. This is their nightmare scenario. All the carefully constructed lies, the gaslighting, and the victim blaming become transparent when someone with no stake in the game looks at the evidence and says, "What actually happened?" Your enemies can't spin this. The truth is now the official story, and their version has been demoted to fiction. What's driving them insane right now is the permanence of this Wednesday turnaround. This isn't a social media moment that will blow over. This is a validation that becomes part of your permanent record. Every time your name comes up, this backing will be mentioned. Every time someone tries to discredit you, they'll have to explain why a high-level player disagreed. This changes your trajectory. Your enemies are watching opportunities close. They're seeing doors that used to be open suddenly require more scrutiny. They're feeling the cold shoulder from allies because nobody wants to be on the losing side of a truth war. They don't want to be remembered as the person who stood against someone who was right. They are doing what people always do when the tide turns, trying to rewrite their own history. They're claiming they never really opposed you, or that they always had questions about the official narrative. They're pretending they were on the fence the whole time. But the receipts exist. The messages are saved. The witnesses remember. And now those receipts are being compiled into a case that can't be defended. Your enemies are realizing too late that they bet on the wrong side. They gambled their reputation on your silence holding, and they lost. They are scrambling like roaches when the kitchen light flips on. This isn't just vindication for you. It is exposure for them. And exposure at this level stains. It follows when a high-level player backs you. They aren't just talking about the past. They're creating momentum for your future. This backing is the foundation for everything that comes next. Other people with influence are starting to pay attention. Doors that were locked are swinging wide because credibility attracts credibility. Your opposition is about to watch you rise in ways they can't prevent. You will gain access to spaces they thought you'd never reach. You will form alliances with people they couldn't touch. And the most painful part for them? They caused this. Their attacks made this validation more powerful. Their lies made the truth more devastating. They created their own worst nightmare. My beloved child, once the truth has momentum, it doesn't stop at compounds. Every day more people learn what really happened. Every week another piece of their narrative crumbles. And all they can do is watch. Fighting it makes it worse. Denying it proves they're still lying. You didn't have to plot revenge. You just had to hold on to your truth long enough for me to recognize it. This moment is your transformation. You are no longer the person they tried to silence. You are the person they couldn't break. If this message resonated with you, Show the universe you are ready for the success papers to be signed. Hit the like button. Subscribe to this channel to keep your high-level protection active. And drop 777 in the comments to signal that you are done being underestimated. Share this with anyone who needs to know that truth always finds its champion. Your enemies are sweating, and honestly, they should be. It is done.